On show 489, the 12 myths of owning an EV and a bumper edition of your question of the week. A slightly different EV News Daily for your Sunday edition. A couple of bits of housekeeping, a little bit of news, and then really a bumper edition of Question of the Week. Normally we'd sort of finish off on a Sunday and read out your answers to Question of the Week, but I've had so many of them this week. It would be like a 40-minute long podcast. Nobody wants that. And so today, really a bumper edition of just your bit of the show. This is your day. Sunday is all about what you think of the EV industry and your answers to Question of the Week. And so we will get into that, really in a couple of minutes' time. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Thank you very much for listening. If you listen every day, if this is the first time you've tuned in, the show isn't normally like this. It is normally packed full of news. So, wait till tomorrow. It'll be back to normal. But this is your Sunday, 2nd of June edition. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. My name is Martyn Lee. Welcome to EV News Daily. Thank you to myev.com for helping make this show. In the USA, myev.com, not only the first, but also the ultimate way of buying and selling an EV, and only an EV. Check out if you want to go to a website that is purely about buying and selling and learning about electric cars, myev.com. Thank you very much to some new Patreon support. Thank you very much to a new supporter, Stefan Johansson. Thank you very much. And you, the new executive producer, Dan. That'll be Dan Fairs, who signed up on Patreon to be a new exec producer of the show. Thank you very much, my friend. Right, talking to Patreon, somebody else who has a podcast and has a big Patreon support is Ryan McCaffrey. His show's called Ride the Lightning, and after asking for a long time, he finally got his interview with Elon Musk. Now, Ride the Lightning is all about. It's been 200, it's weekly, it's 200 episodes of Tesla news. It's super hardcore, like an hour long, super deep tip of the week. It's loads of real deep Tesla stuff, which isn't for everyone. I love it, and it's purely a Tesla podcast. But for show 200, he sat down for an hour with Elon Musk. I haven't listened to it yet myself. I've just seen all of the articles. Everyone was talking about it. So that's a job for Monday morning for me, for my listening in the car. Let's also, by the way, so if you want to download that, search Ride the Lightning Tesla podcast, you'll find it. Okay, VW have put out on their website, Volkswagen have published the 12 myths of e-mobility, otherwise known as EVs. E-mobility is a phrase that nobody uses in the real world, but the 12 myths of electric cars. Myth number 1, nobody can afford them. The fact, they say, the ID.3, which is their fully electric car, the ID.3 costs the same as a Golf TDI. Myth number 2, not enough charging stations. They disprove that. Myth number 3, it takes an eternity to charge. They disprove that. Myth number 4, I'll never get to Italy in that, is a myth. But they like to point out that Ionity coverage of the chargers in Europe is increasing, and the range up to 550 kilometres of their EVs. Myth number 5, electricity, too dangerous? And they say no, the Thunderstorm is fine, it's got a Faraday cage, protects e-cars, the crash structure's very safe. Myth number 6, not protecting the environment, up to 90% less CO2 emissions than combustion engines, they say. Bearing in mind, this is the VW website saying 90% less emissions than combustion engines. Where do they make all of their money? Combustion engines. I know. I'll just pause halfway through the 12 myths of EVs. I know everyone listening right now has their opinion on VW, generally the German automakers, generally the things that they've done, which are very, very naughty. And I get that, and I'm not defending anything that they did, and some of the behaviour from all of the car makers has been, at times, pretty disgusting. So I'm not defending them, just saying, here's a company making all of its money from fossil engines, trying to navigate this almost impossible journey to EVs, and they have to say, like myth number 6, EVs are way better for the environment. Myth number 7, the grid can't cope. Nope, they proved that wrong with some stats about if everyone drove electric cars, what it would mean to the grid. Myth number 8, it's going to cost jobs. They say that e-mobility, EVs, are creating jobs. 8,000 people now producing the ID.3. Myth number 9, they're dangerously quiet. They say no, they're adding synthetic sounds, and so pedestrians can hear them. Myth number 10, they're far too slow. They say actually EVs are way better than combustion engines. E-cars accelerate faster than those with combustion engines, they say. You get maximum torque from the start. I mean, there's no way, right? I still got 2 more myths to go. There's no way of talking about EVs without actually talking down all of the other cars you make. Like I say, it's a near impossible task for these big legacy automakers. Myth number 11, EVs are boring. They say no, the ID family are real eye catchers. And myth number 12, we'll run out of lithium. Yeah, they well and truly disprove that. Recycling up to 90% of their batteries is possible, and there's large reserves, enough lithium for 10 billion EVs, but we know we'll never need to worry about that as things change. It's amazing, really. I'll pop a link in the show notes if you want to read out more. The 12 myths of e-mobility, as published on Volkswagen's website, is kind of amazing, really, because to talk up an EV, by its very nature, you have to talk down other cars, and the minute they're pretty much only making other cars. So a well done VW. I know not everyone shares my praise there. There'll still be some criticism. Let's move on to question of the week this week. It's been mind-blowingly popular, and so that's why I'm going to do most of the show on it, because I want to read out as many people as I can, because I hate leaving people out, but otherwise, like, the podcast would be so long if I read every single one out. First of all, a reminder of the question: what would your dream job be in the EV industry, and why? If you could do anything, what would it be? We'll kick off with David. Well, David Partington says, I feel like your question of the week is made for me. I'm looking for my dream job in the EV industry. I have a background in project management and IT. My dream would be to help deliver the software and services needed to enable the UK's charging infrastructure to become more interoperable and smarter, supporting V1G and V2G. What's V1G? I hate seeing something that I don't know what that is. I'm going to go and Google V1G. V2G, vehicle to grid, which I love. My reasoning is, while it's great to see the charge point operators installing new chargers, the user experience for UK EV drivers charging their cars is poor. There are many opportunities for innovative businesses to make charging easier. So that's what he would do if that's the job he's trying to create right now in the EV industry. Thank you very much to everyone who answered this week's question of the week. This is... Let me try and go back to where we start on this, because I've got so many. This one is the email from Andrew Jacobs, who is the Windmiller, otherwise known as Andrew. I would love to work as a software engineer. Working on autonomous driving, I'm in raptures that autonomous driving is coming in my lifetime. About 20 years ago, I used to dream that my car had autonomous driving. In my dreams, the car would mostly follow the road, but not perfectly. When I woke up, I was disappointed. I realised it wasn't true. How prophetic my dreams were, he says. Now, a Tesla on autopilot drives far better in real life than any of my dreams. It's amazing how good it is. Hello to Lillian. My dream job is to shadow Elon Musk for 3 months to witness and record the incredible automotive revolution that he's creating. Hello to Owen H. Morgan. I'm a marine electrician. I lived on a sailboat for 20 years and did several single-handed ocean crossings. I worked several years later as a generator technician, and I presently service gas and diesel guzzling motor yachts. My dream job would be doing electric and hybrid electric conversions of sail and motor yachts, as well as doing the electric part of new builds. That's great. Hello to Peter Bryn. Thank you very much to Peter for telling me his EV dream job, and he's pretty similar, actually, taking liberty with the term EV to include electrified vessel. He says, Peter, I've already done my dream job with ABB. I'm the technical guy on the North American sales team, which means I get to work with ship owners and designers across the US and Canada to develop diesel electric and pure battery electric solutions for vessels. An exciting time in the marine space, with the first real disruption in vessel propulsion in decades underway, and the emerging pathway towards zero emissions. Hello, Mark Weston. Mark Weston says, I love the podcast and the job you do. Oh, thank you very much. Not really a job, is it? But it's more like a hobby. I'm a retired 56-year-old, but if I was to go back to work into employment, I'd like a job overseeing installation of chargers on the motorways, ensuring there's enough CCS chargers available, where currently, from experience, you only have 1 or 2 stations. Hello to Mark Garnett. As a freelance business analyst, my perfect career in the EV world would be to help a startup or SME implement or make the best use of ERP for manufacturing and distribution. That's Mark Garnett, who is Argent Pro Limited. Hello, Carl Kramer. I'd like to be the guy who does EV product placement in the movies. For instance, I'd like to put an all-black new Tesla Roadster as the next Batmobile. Love it. Hello to Dan, who says, happy to be mentioned, but not my full name. So we'll just stick with you, Dan. Thank you very much for the podcast. He says, dream job to do with EVs is what I do now. And he works with Tesla. And I'll be careful what I say, because I know some people are private. He works with Tesla. He works on the technical side. Previously, he worked for a different car maker, by the way, and his particular favourite is a Model S P90DL. Oh, lovely 90DL. Oh, that's so nice. He says, I don't like my personal car, but I do like the P90DL that he gets to drive. And again, I won't say any more about what he does, but he is clearly a big fan of his current job. Says Doug Vowles, Brighton, Ontario is our next one. He says, I'm doing my dream EV industry job now. I'm just not getting paid for it. I live in a small town in Ontario, Canada, with no charging station. I've taken on the task of shaking the branches to get one installed. I don't care if it's government or private money. It's good for the local shopkeepers and economy to attract EV drivers. I'm an EV missionary, he says. I don't even have an EV vehicle. But our next car will be an EV. Hello to Inga Davidson. Says, my dream job would be the community manager for Tesla. I'd read forums, answer questions, and bring good ideas to the attention of the relevant people at Tesla. I could work as a Twitter sitter for Elon Musk. Elon, are you listening? Inga Davidson wants to be your Twitter sitter. Hello to John Fruith. My dream job in the EV industry would be to serve as a software project manager. I see the potential for software upgrades to be enormous, even though Tesla's pushed the limits further than anyone else has in the space. With full self-driving, we've barely scratched the surface. Things like vehicle to service links for diagnostics. Well, I mean, Tesla are doing that already, aren't they? Your Tesla will now tell you if it's feeling a little bit poorly, if it needs to go to the Tesla hospital. Other vehicles on the road talking to infrastructure, your car talking to roadside assistance, your car talking to the grid, your car talking to the home power, your car talking to inductive charging, your car talking to security systems, and much more. That's what John would program. Hello to Martin Young. My dream EV job doesn't actually involve cars. I love driving my Volt, but I'm a pilot, and I love flying my little airplane even more. My favourite thing is to share the joy and beauty of flight with someone who's never been in a small, open cockpit airplane before. Anything that keeps the experience from being perfect is the internal combustion engine. I hope at some point in the next few years to convert my plane to a BEV, battery electric vehicle. This next one's kind of special, actually. Shana, or Shana, I think it's Shana, S-H-A-N-A. Shana Patadia is the Director of Strategy and Energy Solutions at ChargePoint. I really enjoy your podcast. I only discovered it a couple of months ago, but now I listen to every episode. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Shana says, my dream job in the EV industry is the job I currently have. I get to work with some of the most experienced people in EVs and charging and spend most of my day thinking about how ChargePoint's hardware and software solutions can best support fleets as they transition away from fossil fuels. Yes, of course, fleets make very unemotional decisions about what cars they have on the fleet. Clearly, moving your fleet from combustion to electric means a little more thought. Where are they going to be charged? Where are they going to be kept? Some employees take them home, some leave them in depots, all those kind of things. What's the route the car's going to do? Will you ever have to suddenly do a 500-mile trip if you have a fleet car that's outside your normal routine? And are your staff, your drivers then trained? Do they have the smart cards to charge? Do they have access to the charge point? All those things. There is some thinking to do. There's some people who are far smarter than I am thinking about these things. Well, like this person, and says, thank you very much for focusing on this space. It's going to be hugely impactful in reducing carbon emissions. Listening to your podcast and staying up to date with EV news. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to email me and me passing that on to the community. Hello to Ben Skinner. My dream EV job would be a self-driving test driver, mapping out trouble spots. However, I feel like I'm doing that for Tesla right now with every autopilot disengagement I make. Thank you very much to Ben Skinner. Hello to Emlyn. Emlyn Price. You know what? I'm going to leave Emlyn last, actually, because I've just realised why. I'm going to leave Emlyn last. It's worth the wait. This is from Ian. Ian Sear. I would like to be the CEO of VW. I would cease all investment in fossil fuels and devote the billions of euros to EVs. Hello to David Allen. David from High Points says, okay, two kinds of answer here. If I were just starting out, I would go to one of the Tesla-supported tech programs and learn to fix EVs. That way, I would have the excuse to take them apart and the knowledge of how to put a Tesla back together. These days, my dream job would be to have a used EV sales shop with a demo hall like the one in Milton Keynes in the UK. The idea of getting to see the look on people's faces every time they experience electric driving for the first time would definitely make going to work fun. Right, let me finish off with Emlyn's because I read it earlier in the week and I thought, I'll save that one till last. Thank you for the work you do in putting together the podcast. Well, that's very kind, Emlyn. It's not really work, but I would do it anyway, so I might as well do it for you. My answer to question of the week. As Elon Musk, as he is so crucial to the electric car movement, I'm a little concerned that his massive brain may overheat. So my ideal job in the EV industry would be to follow Elon Musk around, operating a device with rotating blades which creates a current of cool air in order to prevent Elon from getting too hot. Just don't call me a Tesla fanboy. I told you it was worth the wait. Thank you very much, Emlyn. Everyone's groaning right now. Brilliant. You know what? A bumper. Look at the time. Wow, a bumper. Question of the week. I love it. It's my favourite show to do because it's all you and it's not me chatting. These are your answers. I love it. Okay, let's set a brand new question of the week, and you can answer this one. In 2019, as EVs get more popular, should EVs still qualify for special treatment and incentives? Things like financial incentives, convenience incentives like being able to park in a parking space for free, getting free parking, driving in bus lanes. Should EVs still qualify for special treatment in 2019, or have we gone past that now? Let me know. Email me. My personal address is hello@evnewsdaily.com, and you can leave a comment on YouTube and the Facebook comments. There are 216 patrons of the show who really do keep me going like you wouldn't believe on patreon.com/evnewsdaily. If you want any previous shows, like I say, they're nearly always news. The news will return tomorrow. Then you can get them online right now, 488 of them. All the new shows are first and free and automatically in your inbox or your podcast app if you hit subscribe. And you can do it on YouTube as well if you want to. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.